Welcome back to another episode of RecTalk. This is RecTalk from the Expo. You'll know my guest from Kate O'Neill's coaching and also a new project that you jumped into now, which is the RecTalk.
Yeah.
What's it called? Oh, you have to excuse me.
Really boring name, Kate O'Neill Recruitment Solutions, but I
Just what it says on the tin. What do they do? Yeah.
I thought I did like a little bit of market research because I thought I'll call it a different name, but because I've got that kind of brand name now with the other business, I thought I can't
now
it would
go
be
and call it
stupid to start from scratch.
And
when I hire the people I hire, if they're ringing agencies and stuff, it's a bit familiarity if they know me but might not know them.
Yeah,
so that was my thought process,
sense.
but it's not very exciting.
No, that makes sense. Right, so this seems a bit unorganised and I'm going to keep holding on to this because we're recording live from the Birmingham Recruitment Agency Expo at the NEC, and so I'm going to keep doing this to make sure that you can hear me. Your mic is dead up to your face.
You might not even be able to see my face.
Yeah. So the whole purpose of this playlist on YouTube is going to all be around kind of promoting the people that I feel like deserve to be promoted and be kind of put out there because some of the cool shit that you guys are doing. So first of all, mate, how's your year been? How's 2024 treated you?
I've said this publicly on LinkedIn recently. It's probably been the most difficult year of my life, and that is I'm not being a drama queen.
Is that business or personal or both?
Business. Well,
business.
It filters into your personal, doesn't it, when you've got a business?
So
yeah, 100%. My first year in business was 2021, so COVID, and that was easier than this. This year's been really hard.
It's the correctional model, though, isn't it? They keep calling it the sort of market is stabilising and whatever. But I don't think anyone really knows what's going on. What were the bits that you found tricky?
I think so. Last year was also a difficult year, but I had my best year, and I think everyone's made this kind of mistake in business. I got a bit cocky, not cocky, but you think, oh well, if I've been all right this year, of course I'll be all right next year. And we were all saying 2024 is going to be better, and I kind of went into this year thinking I'll be fine, and it's kind of just been a bit of a shock, I think, for it to be so difficult, and just the financial pressure. I live on my own, I've got a mortgage, all the outgoings you've got. Cosy lives, the cost of living going up.
God, yeah. So it's
it's
almost like the perfect storm of shit, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because actually a lot of people I'm speaking to have got that same sentiment. In terms of then kind of pulling that apart a little bit, is it winning new business? Is it getting yourself out there? Is it balancing all the fucking plates you're spinning? What's the bit that you would go, if I could have rectified that, my year would have gone a different way?
I think being a bit more sensible with money. So
you were in IB for not long ago.
This is why I've got this voice, by the way. Last year I worked a 4-day week. I had relaxing trips, breaks, downtime. This year, because obviously I've been launching a new business, I've gone back to 5 days. Sometimes I've done 6. Not a good idea. So I've overworked a bit much. The key word is balance. The holidays I've had have not been relaxing. So I went to Dubai in March.
They've been blowouts, haven't they?
Blowouts.
So there's never been a sort of serene moment really for you.
No. There's just been a lack of balance. So I just think I've learned a lot this year, a lot, and it's about me kind of now looking back to last year. I can't go back to a 4-day week yet. I will, but it's just thinking about I just don't look after myself enough sometimes. That's the problem. I hear
you. So okay, and so you've kind of spun off this unique rec-to-rec proposition, and I say that because it feels like for most recruitment businesses that when they're struggling, they kind of go, oh, we'll just do rec-to-rec, because they feel like that's the answer. And so, I mean, I'll be honest, when you put your announcement out, I was like, oh no, Kate, don't do rec-to-rec. That's the thing, right? Only then I was like, hang on a minute, I see what she's doing here. It's sort of, this is the niche I'm operating in, this is the shit that I'm going to be doing. Yeah. And so it's not just a whole of market, what do you need? Do you need this, do you need that? It's here's what I offer. So tell us a bit more about that and what drove the theory to go, that's my calling.
It's really weird because I've only started calling it a rec-to-rec recently. It's not that I'm ashamed of rec-to-rec, but because
it's not a rec-to-rec.
But I don't think of it as a rec-to-rec. So basically, ever since I started the business, I've had people saying to me that when I've gone in to do training, why haven't you got your own agency? Why aren't you still recruiting? And at first, I needed a break from it. And very...
Shit.
I just...
No, it's just...
I was burnt out.
Not everyone enjoys it. I don't enjoy it anymore.
I loved it, but I was just so burnt out from it, so I wanted a little bit of a break. And then I kind of started... Last year, I had the idea, because I do a lot of work with rookies anyway, I just started seeing all these gaps and where it was going wrong with bringing newbies into our market, because I don't think some people realise, but we're not going to live forever. So we've got all these people in recruitment, great, but they're going to, I know this is a bit morbid, but they're going to die eventually. So, like, where's the future talent coming from?
Their careers are going to die, right? In the, some of them decide, I'm going to do something different. Some decide they don't want to do it anymore. Some decide to move on to something else. You know, absolutely.
So there's this lack of, and there's a lot of, this is just my opinion, a lot of people came into recruitment in COVID when it was a lot easier. There's a lot of bang average people out there at the moment that wouldn't have survived in a normal market. So spotted all these gaps, and it's like a passion mission project for me, because what I'm so sick of is people bringing rookies in, not training them. And I've seen this happen, so people cannot tell me it's bullshit, because I know it's real. They come in, they have an awful experience of recruitment. They think, oh my God, I hate recruitment, it's not for me. They've got so much potential, they leave, and then they tell their friends, they tell their family members. Yeah. And I'm so fed up of our industry having a bad reputation.
Do you know what? That's I completely agree with that. I went into recruitment many years ago for the first time when I was about 20. I did 6 months. It was a big agency. I had a really bad experience with a shit manager and a shit person that I was sort of trained by, and left recruitment completely. Went back into retail banking, worked my way up, all that sort of good shit. When I then went back into recruitment and had it done properly, you know, at that time, my life was shit, right? Overdrafts galore, credit cards galore, loans up to my eyeballs. We just got married, you know, and I was like, fuck am I going to do? Like, how am I supposed to provide for a family? We want to start trying all that sort of shit. Recruitment changed my life, like legit, and I'll tell everybody that. It changed my life. It put me on a completely different, like, pedigree, right? I wouldn't be sat here doing this now if I hadn't made that decision to move into recruitment. But if I'd have remembered, and if I'd have gone in with the mentality of what I had the first time round, I'd have never, I don't know, who knows what the fuck I'd be doing right now, right? And that's it. That's, I think, for me, that's really powerful, because this could be a really good job for someone, and this could change somebody's life. But you're hiring these people in, you're not giving them any support or training, or very little support or training. You're trying to recreate your top billers. It doesn't work, and you throw them to the side and cast them away. And they walk out with a bitter taste in their mouth, thinking all recruitment businesses are the same, and all recruitment businesses are shit. And I don't understand how people work in that space.
And hiring the wrong people happens a lot. Not looking at potential, hiring the typical normal demographic of person. And I get people from my YouTube channel contact me a lot that are like 30 plus, second jobbers. I really want to get into recruitment. I've researched it. You know, they're great, but they're not being given a chance. So all these things together.
Not a fresh grad at it. You
don't need a degree.
You don't. No, you
don't.
Do
recruitment.
No.
And
do you know what you also don't need to be is a former sportsman or sportswoman.
Sales experience.
Fuck, it's not a sales job. I'm telling you now. I still maintain it's not a sales job.
I think it is, but my point is, right, you call it a trainee recruitment consultant job, and apparently you're going to train them, but you want them to have sales experience. You should be fucking training them in sales.
Let's unpick this then, because I always have this conversation with anyone who's like, no, I think it is a sales job. I genuinely, hand on heart, it's not a sales job. It's a marketing job. It's a consultancy. Both, it's a consultant's, like, it's a consultant role, right? To do it properly, that's what you need to be doing, is consulting with your clients. Yep. You're not selling anything. In reality, and you think traditional sales, you're not selling anything. You're not changing somebody's behavior to go into a cycle that they weren't planning on doing. There's no one out there that can tell me they're that good at recruitment. They can pick up the phone and pick up a vacancy with somebody who had no intention of giving it to them on a first phone call out of the blue cold.
It would be a bit of a red flag if you picked it up. Right? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why for me, I'm like, no, it's you don't need a sales experience anymore to do this job. What you need to know, the pest analysis is important. You need to have a bit about you. Actually, life experience is quite important, right?
I think attitude and the attitude piece
Maturity.
is so, and that's nothing to do with age, because I've spoken recently.
Mental maturity.
To 20, 21-year-olds, and you're like, oh my God, like you are so mature for your age, the things you have done. But I've never thought of it like that. I think sales is a big there's an aspect of it that's a big part. The marketing, personal branding, huge. And again, if you think that's not important to me, if you think your consultant doesn't need a personal brand,
if you think the answer to your problems is just you need to hit the phones harder, then like your time's up. Like you're a dinosaur, and your business is going to be in a very difficult position. But I feel like
these are the conversations. So when I'm speaking to these newbies, I'm finding these things out about them. So my whole thing is,
so you can match them to businesses that are
and they're going to be trained before they start their job.
Yeah.
So this is the whole point of it is, I will take them through a process that I know works to vet them. You don't need to do that hard work. I give them, when I say test, it's not an exam, but I'm always looking at like, okay, are you ready for this?
Just checking them along the way. Yeah.
And then the agency picks the training modules they get put through and how many. It depends what package they pick, but they come with some sort of prior training and knowledge, and some of the packages have aftercare. So I've looked at this, right, what is going to solve the problems here, and how can this business do that?
You built your solutions around that.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I like that.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing, right, in that this is a model that works and has been replicated. It's been delivered in multiple different industries. You've got School of Code in the tech space, right? It was Trainio in the SDR world, that kind of thing. There's plenty of businesses that have done this and succeeded, so there's no reason why that can't translate into the recruitment space. And I suppose the interesting thing here is that I say this on the podcast again a lot, right? I tend to just repeat the same points, but I meet different people. When we were taught sales, we were taught to cast the net far and wide, right? Get as many prospects onto your prospect list as possible. Get as many people onto that BD list. Now, we shouldn't be doing that. Today's world, we need to be qualifying out people that we don't want to work with.
Yeah.
Because they're too hard to win over, and the amount of effort it takes to get them to over the line is just not worth it. There are businesses out there that will hear this and listen to what you're talking about, and will see your posts and will see your content and go, she's aligned with me.
Yeah.
And therefore it comes back down to people buy from people like them, or people buy from people they like. And so if you're working exclusively in that world of, hey, this is the kind of person I am, and if you want to do business with me because this is what I truly believe, then we're going to have a really easy time.
Yeah.
Short of then, the opposite of that, which is just cold calling and bashing and trying to sell your solution to a problem that is out there, but to a business owner that doesn't see it as a problem.
No, and I think, so for me, I make sure that I try and be everywhere and be really authentic, so again, people can feel aligned to me. But I do, and have done as a coach and trainer the whole time with my other business, I do a lot of business development, my own business development outreach, and I will pick up the phone. I try and make it warm, so they already are familiar with me. But for me, I know there's agencies out there that will listen to this and think, nah, rookies are shit, we don't need them, that's not a problem. But it is a problem, and I see it as my mission to, not forcefully, but through conversations, time, building relationships, help them realise there is a problem. Because sometimes you don't realise, when you're working, when you're in your business, sometimes you don't.
You're so in the you don't know what the actual issues really are, because you're so busy firefighting and putting out every day.
I'm guilty of it in my own business. For me, sometimes I am a bit like a dog with a bone. If I look at an agency and I think I can help you and benefit you, and this can solve a problem for you, whether that's training, coaching, the behavioural stuff I do, or the agency, I won't give up until you understand that you need me. Does that make sense? But it's not in a way of like...
No, but it's persistence, isn't it? But then that's where the brand piece comes in, right? I mean, if you think, we were connected, we didn't really have anything to do with each other, our paths seemed to never have crossed. Then you were on, I think you had Gabby on a podcast, or you were on hers or something like that? Yeah,
we do... We've just started it. She comes, we basically jump on and talk shit to each other for an hour and then put it on YouTube.
Yeah, I can believe that, yeah. And so I saw that and I was like, well, any friend of Gabby's a friend of mine, but actually I quite like this person because she's very similar to me in that she'll say it how it is, she doesn't mind the P's and Q's, but more importantly, if she's fucked up with something, she'll be like, yeah, I fucked up there. I should, and because it was the bit where you went, I sit there and think, fuck, man, why does no one invite me on podcasts? And then I realised that actually I've got to ask.
So I messaged you then, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, fuck
Gabby
yeah,
pulled me up on it. She was like, just message people, Kate, and ask. And I was like, oh yeah. I will.
Yeah. Nah, brilliant. Okay, cool. So the RecTalk stuff's off the ground. You're still doing the coaching and the training stuff?
They link a lot, which is the point of it as well, is they feed each other. So yeah, still doing both. The other one is still there.
So what's your prediction for this time next year? So when we're sat here again doing this...
Oh, I don't know. I'll probably be a millionaire. No,
this
well,
time next
that'd
year.
be nice.
Yeah.
My prediction. So my gut feeling tells me that the agency will grow really nicely next year, and that will. I really would love this time next year to have just taken on a member of staff. I'd love that.
Yeah,
would love that, because I love being back on the tools. Like, I'm really enjoying it. But my vision with the businesses is that I grow it. I bring in rookies. I develop them. They recruit for me. I still do. I never want to stop trying to win clients because I love it. But I'll take more of a working on the business approach, because I absolutely love building a business. I love it.
But it's interesting, isn't it? How often we get caught in that trap of like, you are the business, and so if somebody wants to buy Kate O'Neill coaching, they have to buy Kate O'Neill, and you're like, well, I'm not for sale, right? Yeah, that's it. And so it's sort of, I'm not going back to work for somebody. So yeah, the next thing has to really be a how do I work on this, not in it, and have people doing. And I suppose the other side of it is what better proof of concept than to have people working for you who came through that same academy and are now like, I
wanted to do it from the start, to be honest, but I really struggled to get funding. I was meant to get a loan through Business Wales and did all the work for it. Basically, they are a shambles. Like, I love my country, but sorry, it is a fucking shambles sometimes. And I didn't end up getting it, so I couldn't hire. So the whole point was that it was kind of like, look, I'm doing it myself.
Bit of an injection, yeah.
But I will do it, and I'll train them and bring them up through the agency. But that I really, really would love to be in a position to do that kind of this time next year.
There we go. No, that's good, man. Right, what advice have you got for business owners out there who are watching this that are like, I like her, give me something free?
Some advice.
Chuck a freebie out there.
What, just any advice?
Just
or
any
business?
advice for recruitment business owners?
Oh, for recruitment business owners.
To either finish off this year on a high or next year to come out the gates.
I think we're on the last quarter now. It's been a really difficult year, and for all of us, I think we want to try and get the most out of it, because like we've said, it's been really, really difficult. And I think what I'm noticing a lot is there's like this panic push on. Right, well, you need to be winning more clients, and we need more candidates, and it's like sometimes it's like all these KPI, like, right, we need to do this amount of calls a day, and this is what you need to do. And actually it has a detrimental effect on the consultants, because they start to panic. And a lot of the time you're asking them to do things without any sort of planning. So like, I know, we'll start a new division, so start calling driving and industrial clients, go. And it's like, hold on a minute now. Right.
Tristan's laughing. He worked for my recruitment agency, and that's exactly what we used to do. On the way in, he was like, you just come up with fucking ideas and just like, do this.
They're great ideas.
Stop working on this, now work on this. Yeah.
They're great ideas, but they're not going to work if you don't put the planning into it and train them on what they need to do, or remind them of what they need to do. Because otherwise you have a situation where the outreach or the work they're doing is low quality. They're not feeling mentally very good about it. You need them in the mindset of, I'm bought into this mission. Yes, we're going to do this, confident. I know 3 months flies by, but you're actually going to end up wasting it. So just, and I'm guilty of it myself. You have an idea and you get excited and you're like, like that's what's happened with this agency, basically. If you want to know the do's and don'ts of setting up an agency, I'll tell you them, because I've done all the don'ts this year. That's basically it. But I would say from an agency owner's perspective, when you've got staff, like honestly, I'm seeing it all the time at the moment, and I speak to the consultants a lot. They confide in me, and they're not happy. and you don't want to lose them. You do not want to lose
They
good
look
staff.
to you. We often lose sight of this as business owners, right? Your staff look to you to be the ones. You know, when you're younger, and there's a point in every person's life where they realise that their parents aren't the most intelligent people in the world. But up until that point, it was always they know everything.
Yeah.
Right? Your recruiters, you don't want them to get to that point where they look at you and go, actually, you don't know anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they look to you for guidance and for support, and you're the one who knows what you're doing. And the minute you start acting and behaving in ways that make them feel like, hang on a minute, and that mask starts to slip, it's done. It's a ticking time bomb. You know, those people are going to start to leave in droves because they don't trust the leadership anymore.
It's really dangerous. So, like, honestly, I can't think of, if I was an agency owner with staff, with how the market is, I'd want to keep my good people, because they will get snapped up by another agency.
Yeah.
And if they've got a year's or less experience, or they're basically rookies, they could just come to me anyway and I can help them. But I just think you just look after them, like, and just make the most of an amazing idea. Because otherwise, when it goes wrong, you could easily think, well, that was a shit idea, it didn't land. It's not that it was a shit idea, it was not executed correctly.
Execution. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. I think that's a really good place to finish. Mate, genuinely, we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for having me on.
Looking forward to sitting on the sidelines and watching it fly. And you know I'll be cheering you on the whole way around.
Thank you. Thank you so
appreciate
much.
It. And thank you for being my first guest.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, this has been good. We'll see you on the next one. It'll probably be on the playlist next.